Now I do. I got to feel this way.
All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to start with an invocation this morning. We have Colleen Haley. Oh, there you are.
Would you please pray? Lord, gracious Lord, we thank you for another day. We thank you for giving us this beautiful place to live. But most especially, Lord, we thank you for your presence with us. We thank you for the gift of your Son. And we pray, Lord, that those who are elected to lead us and guide us will be strengthened by you and will always know that there's nothing that they have to do by themselves. We thank you for this community, and we thank you for the ways you bless us, Lord, and ask that you would help us never, ever to take any of those blessings for granted, but to know that all the blessings that come into our lives are put there by you. So help us to be faithful. Help us to walk with our heads up and our eyes on you, and give us strength for whatever comes our way, that we might know that we are not alone. And we ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to call the meeting to order. It's 9:04 a.m. on, actually just turned 9:05 a.m. on June the 23rd, 2026. This is a regular meeting of the Gillespie County Commissioners Court. All members of the Commissioners Court are present this morning. We're going to move to item number 4 to start with. That's receive and discuss a report on the status of the response operations related to the presence of the New World screwworm in the county. And then we will also consider adopting an order to extend or continue the local state of declaration. Good morning, Ashley.
Good morning. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, public and other folks here. I am Ashley Morris. I'm the Gillespie County Emergency Management Coordinator, and I am giving an update on New World screwworm in Gillespie County, similar to what we did 2 weeks ago. So as of this morning, there are 15 Texas species. USDA actually just confirmed another additional case last night that the state will work on confirming today. So it's kind of a half confirmation, but we're sitting at 15. In Gillespie County, we have 1 case still. Our case was a goat found in western Gillespie County, and it was announced by the USDA June 8th and confirmed by the Texas Animal Health Commission on June 9th. After confirmation, the Texas Animal Health Commission issued the incest protection zone, number 3, on the same date. And so when you go on the website, you pull it up, it's that yellow zone surrounded by that blue zone. In that yellow infest zone, animals cannot move without an inspection and a permit that is provided by the Texas Animal Health Commission. Outside of that yellow zone, in the blue zone, animals can move freely with no inspection. That's just a zone where people are to keep an eye on animals and do additional layers of surveillance. I do want to remind everybody that this is a federal and state response. So this is being led by the USDA, the Texas Animal Health Commission, Texas Parks and Wildlife, and support with ag life. The county is offering our support and resources when asked. Could be law enforcement, could be anything else when requested. And we're also assisting in providing information to the public. So some of y'all might be a part of our screwworm distribution list, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. We've been conducting various city and county briefings on the current state of the impact in the county, what residents are being asked to do, and then also keeping tabs on potential economic challenges associated with this. The TAHC also, to assist with the checkpoint process, has rolled out 3 to 5 checkpoints around the area where folks with livestock are encouraged to pull over and go through the checkpoint, provide your certificate that you got via inspection, and make sure that you're all good before leaving the area. There. Last week, we had the Texas Animal, or the TAMU vet team from A&M attend and come and assist us for over a week with inspections. We had a team of over 15 vets from College Station help, and they visited Gillespie County areas, but also Kimball County and all different impacted areas around here with inspections. Today, I kind of just want to remind y'all of how we are navigating this through different hotlines and things like that. I know my office gets a lot of calls on who to ask, where can I go, how can I get permits. So if you have any general inquiries, you're going to call the Texas Animal Health Commission General Inquiry Line at 737-900-7455. If you are in that yellow zone in Harper or on the west side of the county, you're going to request an inspection and a permit before moving your animal, and you're going to call 737-292-9983. And then if you see something on your animal, a suspicious lesion, you might see maggots, you might see larvae, you are encouraged to report that immediately, 24/7 on this line, 1-800-550-8242. Once you report that, the Texas Animal Health Commission will send out an inspector to you. They'll take a look at the animal, collect the sample, send it off to the lab, and they'll give you instructions on treatment of that animal as well. Texas Animal Health Commission is also taking care of exotics. So we know that we have a lot of exotic animals around the county, and so you're going to call that same 1-800-24/7 line if you have an exotic animal that also has some kind of suspicious wound on it. Lastly, if you see wildlife, so deer, raccoons, anything that's wild, you're going to call Parks and Wildlife at 512-389-4505, and they're going to send out someone to come take a look at that. All these agencies are currently working together, doing monitoring, doing fly traps, doing fly drops, also assisting with some of the movement impacts that we have. Already mentioned in terms of emergency management that we've been supporting a little bit with alerting and things like that, but our goal is to continue to work closely with the state and federal government to collect information on their response and get it to y'all. So if you guys have questions, if you have concerns, if there's something that's not really sure of what's going on, especially on the western side of the county, you're welcome to call me at any time on my 24/7 cell phone at 830-998-7252. We're also, like I said, conducting briefings, ensuring all of our elected officials are aware of the impacts, and we're coordinating with law enforcement, public safety, and our other agencies at the city and county level in the event that we're asked to support state and federal operations with this. One last reminder before I open up for questions. Everybody in the yellow zone and the blue zone are encouraged to be checking your animals daily. So taking a look at your animals, looking for wounds, looking for larvae, anything like that. You're also encouraged to try to reduce injury. So taking a look at your fencing, patching things up, making sure that some of your livestock aren't being put in situations where they're getting injured more. If you find a wound or a wound occurs, you want to treat it, cover it, take care of it, and keep an eye on it because this screwworm will target where that wound is to lay its eggs. And then lastly, we really encourage you to reach out to AgriLife, which Brad is here, as well as your vet and other animal experts. They've been doing a fantastic job of collecting best practices and different things that you all can do to keep your animals safe. So with that, I will open up for any questions from judge or commissioners or anyone else.
Any questions?
I just had a question. Is there a time limit on the executive order where you can just keep renewing it over and over?
Is that for Ashley or for me?
For you, sir?
Which executive order are you talking about?
For,
There's a local declaration and then there's an executive order
yes,
from the
the
state.
418.108.
So the local declaration that we're considering today, I can issue one for up to 7 days unilaterally. After that, I need extension. I need consent from the governing body, which in this case is the Commissioner's Court, to extend it beyond that. The proposed order that we're looking at or considering, I think, has a 30-day time limit on it for reconsideration in 30 days. So it's not like an indefinite, one of these indefinite things. I mean, that was a lesson I think we all learned from pandemic, was these sort of indefinite disaster declarations are not really in the spirit, I think, of that law. So so hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and I also want to provide a little info on that. There's 2 executive directed orders or executive order his, as well as what the TAHC's put out. For the zone, the infest zone, that came out with an executive director order from the Texas Animal Health Commission and the state. That is in effect until they say. So we've been trying to get estimations, how much longer, and we're hoping that they'll let us know. But they kind of tend to stay indefinite because they've got, ongoing operations, inspections and stuff, and it really depends on if we find a case or if something goes on there. So that's the state order. I do want to just mention with our declaration, one reason that we're a big fan of making sure that we have this disaster declaration is, one, it allows us to provide county resources in terms of staffing, agencies and stuff in a disaster scenario so that we can take care of residents with certain things. It could be assigning personnel to assist the state at the command post or doing livestock inspections or anything. It's whatever we kind of feel like we need to do to make sure that our residents are served during this issue. The other concern that we also have, like I kind of mentioned, was economic disruption. So usually with disasters, we have to have a disaster declaration first before the state will do one, and then hopefully at the federal level, we'll get a federal disaster. Once all 3 of those are met, we typically will open up to different federal recovery packages, either through the USDA or through FEMA. And so we're trying to set the stage early so that if this ends up being long-term or we start to see significant agriculture economic impacts, we might be able to get some of that USDA recovery money or FEMA money if it is available. And I will say, I've been trying to kind of keep eyes on both the USDA relief funds as well as if this would even play in the FEMA realm. And there's a lot of uncertainty, but we're hoping that if there's any kind of relief for any folks in Gillespie County, we're going to be able to kind of capture that and get you guys the information if you guys have losses with animals. So.
I have a couple of questions. Do we know if the USDA has started doing the release of sterile flies?
Yes, so we received word that they did their first drop, I believe, Wednesday, 2 weeks ago. They are somewhat limited in sterile fly amounts, and so they're really trying to target where they get new cases. But if you take a look at the USDA website, you can go down and see the Mexico map with all the cases. They've got the area kind of outlined where they've been doing sterile fly drops. And you'll see that they've been doing it all the way from the border, which they've been doing for months, but all the way up to Central Texas, west of us, and then all the way over us.
And are they doing it in conjunction with the bait of any kind?
So the bait, yeah, the bait is not, so the bait that they dropped a little bit back in the 70s is not legal. The insecticide is outlawed, and so they hadn't done the research to bring that back in. Also, a lot of non-targets are killed with the bait, and so that's a big deal with EPA now. We can't kill non-targets, and so and since they drop the sterile flies, they don't want to kill them. So the bait's done ahead of time for a week, and then they wait a week, and then they drop the sterile flies. That was one method, but so no, probably won't see the bait anytime soon.
All right. So Brad,
being a livestock
Yes.
producer, what is gonna be the best way for me just practically, I mean, fly spray, but it really doesn't, I would think, do a whole lot.
No, so one's just visually looking at those animals. Typically, it's not, an adult animal is probably not gonna have a severe problem unless they have an open wound. So we do wanna keep flies and ticks under wraps, but one thing is checking newborns, that's for navels and things like that. So changing some management practices, getting your animals feed broke where you can easily see them every day or every other day is gonna be. We hope to have a meeting similar to this in Harper. We had planned next Monday, but the auction barn is trying to get some stuff changed through Texas Animal Health Commission. So probably the Monday after the 4th tentatively, we're gonna hopefully have a more producer-related seminar to talk about that.
Okay, thank you.
As you might know, talked about moving horses. So are those new zone or the new infections around the counties around here?
Yes.
Oh, which ones?
So the most recent one would have been up in Carroll County, which actually is down south, on the border.
Okay, so that doesn't impact. Okay.
But what I would say too is the Texas Animal Health Commission website has a really good listing of every single EDO executive director order that they put out, all the counties impacted, and then that map that I sent you, well, I sent you the screenshot, but I can send you the link, and you can see all of the different.
We're doing it tomorrow.
So you should be good.
Yes, it should be good.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Mr. Knightsky, you had signed up to make a comment. Was that your comment? Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the Commissioner's Court before we move on to considering the extension of the disaster declaration?
I have no questions, but I just want to reiterate the importance of reporting. There's a lot of misinformation around reporting. We won't conquer this if we don't report it, so please be diligent on that front.
What's the best place to call and look up online or whatever to find the most information, so that you're not going place to place to place? What would be, like for reporting, for example, or for getting a permit?
Sure. So the Texas Division of Emergency Management just set up a screwworm hub that has all the different USDA and all the resources from all the federal and state agencies. And so if you go to Governor Abbott's website, he has actually done a press release that links to it. You can also just search TDM screwworm and it'll come up. And it's got everything from all of Abbott's statements for just state response stuff to all the Texas Animal Health links and things like that. So that would probably be the best one.
You could just give them like probably 8 phone numbers that I did not memorize. And so I'm just wondering
If you
if I
find
need
one phone
but-
number and call it, they will get you where you need to go.
Yeah, and I would always encourage to, like, maybe you're not gonna move animals today, but you need to next week, and you need help. You can always send me an email at my either county or city, or you can give me a call on that 24/7 cell of mine. I will answer and get you the information.
All right, thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
So as was discussed before, there's currently a local disaster declaration in place. And Ashley has explained the primary rationale for why that's in place. There is a little bit of language in this proposed, in the current order and in the proposed extension that discusses ingress and egress of persons to a disaster area or movement of warm-blooded animals. There's no restrictions on those movements in this currently in the order and in the proposed extension. That's merely mentioned in case we run into a scenario in the future where we need to take some immediate local action, or we can do so if we can act faster than the Texas Animal Health Commission could do so. So the extension of the order does not place any additional movement restrictions beyond what's in place from the TAHC. The proposed order, and of course, this is up to Commissioner's Court discretion, but I was proposing an extension until July 23rd, 2026, at which time we could revisit and see, what the circumstances are at that time, and maybe we can take appropriate action then. Was there any discussion or comments from the Commissioner's Court?
No, sir.
Well, since I already have a declaration in place and it's up to y'all to consent to that, I don't want to make a motion to initiate that if one of y'all want to do so.
I move we approve the order of Commissioners Court extended declaration of the local disaster for an additional 30 days as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Who had the second?
It doesn't matter.
Commissioner Elfers? Okay. All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, anything else on item number 4? Ashley, Brad? Okay. All right, we're going to move back to item number 3 now, which is receive and discuss a report on achievements, on outstanding achievements from the Gillespie County 4-H Youth Stock Show season. We have a lot of visitors today. Ms. Grant, I don't know, how do you want to orchestrate this?
I think we got a plan.
Okay.
I think we have a plan. Sorry. All right, now.
Please watch your step. We got cords running everywhere here, so.
Yep, hey, Cindy, right over here. Yep, in your space. Oh, okay. Yep, come on down. Hold the line. Yep, there you go. You got this. Okay.
Well, to make sure the camera can see you too, so.
Well, that one's okay. We got another one here.
Yeah, we got the one up here.
All right, well, thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for having us today. Gillespie 4-H is really busy January through March with our county stock show and then on to majors. And so our kids are running multiple directions and y'all's support is always so much appreciated. So today we wanted to bring them. They're going to highlight a few of their accomplishments as well as tell you a little bit about the livestock projects they're involved in. So we'll let you go. Okay.
Hold on a second. Come get this, so y'all can pass it down so we can hear it, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Houston and Austin. And then after that, our team participates in the district test where we placed third, so we qualified for state. And then also this year, we placed third at state, qualifying for nationals. And through livestock judging, I've learned the importance of like hard work, dedication, and pushing through the hard times. So I was really grateful to be in this program, and I enjoyed it all throughout high school.
Good morning, Commissioners and Judge Jones. My name is Jackson Crane. I'm one of the leaders for the Gillespie County Robotics team. This year, we placed third in Austin, which is really good for our first year. And this year, I learned leadership and managing people, which was a long-term goal. Thank you.
And I want to comment on that just a little bit. This was our first year for our kiddos to go to all the major stock shows with robotics, and so we kind of launched a Revive for Robotics program, and we had over 20 youth at all the major stock shows for the robotics contest with 5 teams. So a huge jump in participation in our robotics program outside of.
I show sheep, goats, and breeding sheep, and I just want to say that our livestock program and projects are wonderful, and that we have to be thankful for Emily, Brad Rader, and Patrick Pageant because we couldn't do it without them, and that's one reason we're so competitive, and thank you.
Good morning, my name is Helen Touch, and I show breeding pigs, market, sheep, and goats, and I just wanted to talk about the importance or the meaningfulness to me of showing livestock that I've raised. It's extremely special to be able to go on the ring and present animals that you've raised, and just knowing that the impact that it can have on your program is extremely important to me, and that's just been an extremely special part of showing to me.
Good morning, my name is Bruce Bowers, and what I learned this year is that you have to work your animals, and it will all pay off once you get to the structure.
So this is our Gillespie County dairy judging team, and so they have some exciting news, but They're gonna teach a little bit about dairy judging, commissioners and judge, because we don't have a lot of dairy cows, but we wanted y'all to learn something today as well. We've learned a lot in 4-H, and so we thought it'd be, I think they can teach a lot.
I'm Landon Denton. I've learned a lot about dairy judging over the past couple of years. Most importantly, I've learned that it takes a lot of hard work, and the more you work, the more you learn. And I think this team really shows that because we put in a lot of time and effort, and right here kind of shows that it paid off. So.
I don't know.
I'm David Anderson.
Isn't
I
it?
think the microphone is off.
Did you, are you muted?
On the, I think on the. Switch it here.
Hi, I'm David Anderson, and I think the main thing I learned about dairy judging is just keep it simple, like not overthink it. Just stick to the main things that matter. And I think we've come a long way since we started.
I'm Dylan Bickle, and I think one thing that I've learned for this being my very first year dairy judging is to just focus on the things that you've been taught and trust in your mind.
Hi, my name is Avery Denton. My brothers and I show dairy cattle. Every day we have to work hard by washing them, showing them, and walking them every day. And my heifer and I slice and dice, lunging and championing and singing song this year. We live in Harvard, Texas with our farm Stewart Hill Country Club.
Hi, I'm Macy Taylor, and dairy judging isn't very common in this county, and so it's really special that we get to do this. And we don't have a lot of opportunities to practice other than what Mr. Denton has on his farm. And so when we go to shows, I think it's very important to be persuasive because the judges have their own opinions and you might see something that they don't. And so when you're giving reasons, it's really important to be persuasive and show them that you know what you're talking about.
All right, well. We want to thank all the kiddos for coming today. This is about probably 5%, maybe even less than that of our total 4-Hers. And so we just could only bring the highlights. Of course, we already filled the room, so thank them for coming. And definitely want to thank Commissioners Court Extension. Texas A&M AgriLife is funded heavily by the county here along with the state. And so we couldn't do it without that. 4-H is a portion of what we do at AgriLife, and this is only a portion of what we do in 4-H. We also have many different contests, from home ec to range and plan ID, public speaking. As you can see, all these kids did a great job, and so without the commissioner's support and the county support, we couldn't do this. Also, want to thank our ag teachers in both Kent towns, from Harper and Fredericksburg. Too many to list. But they worked extensively with us to help get this done for the youth, which is not common in other counties. Other counties, they fight like cats and dogs, and so we are very blessed here. And we want to say that also the community here, not only the commissioners, but the community as a whole, from our stock shows to all of our events, Wild Game Dinner, are huge supporters. And so obviously this is a whole community process here, and want to thank everybody.
So Brad, I have to ask a question. You said they're going to give us some exciting news.
Oh.
I didn't hear it.
This year we got second at the state level, and then we're going to Louisville to judge and represent Texas.
Question? Bring the kiddos, make them talk some more.
I got a question from Ms. Benton. Was it slice and dice?
Yes, sir.
Did you pick out that name by yourself?
No, sir.
No, just hats off to all these young folks that participate and succeed, and it makes us feel good knowing that the program is succeeding and doing well. So thank you all, and thank you all, Brad and Emily, for all y'all do. And I know it's a bunch of tireless days that y'all participate.
Thank you. We appreciate the support, like Brad said. We couldn't do it without everybody, so
You know, we didn't even pay the kids to say what he said. I'm so touched. So thank y'all so much for
We're proud of
everything,
y'all.
and it's just a joy
All of
to
y'all.
work with all of our community. So.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Jerry Judging team, stay right there. Okay, y'all, Brody, smile behind them. Sorry.
Sorry.
One picture. Where'd he go? There you are. Okay, and then Jerry Judging team, okay, David, why don't you go back there with the other kids, and Jerry Judging team.
Don't talk well, I'm impressed.
Oh,
You hit it well. And Raider will talk back. Why, you know all this.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Go. Perfect. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you all.
Afraid you were gonna call me next and have to follow that.
The pressure's.
Pressure is totally on. Just,
No, you'll be.
yeah, no, that was terrific. That was worth the price of admission. I have 3 of these. These are my last that y'all share. And all right, well, thank y'all for having me today and for your support of our community through our work, because you know, Gillespie County continues to have a high uninsured rate. There continue to be a lot of people for us to help, but we have a lot of people that help us help them. So last year when I was here, I told you we had some plans for a few things. One of the things we were planning to do was hire a full-time therapist, a bilingual therapist, to be in-house and see patients. And we were able to do that last July. So we now have a bilingual LPC with us 4 days a week, seeing counseling patients. And what makes that great is when we have somebody off-site or we're referring people to, even if we're making the appointments available for free, it's hard to convince a patient to take that step to get counseling. But if I'm able to sit, if the nurses are able to sit with the patient and say, hey, it seems like you're struggling, before you leave today, I want you to meet Ed. And then they walk them down and they build a rapport with Ed. We've had so many more patients doing that. So anyway, we're very grateful to have that. Then the big thing I told you about was we were expanding our building and we were in the middle of a $5 million capital campaign. I'm pleased to report we were able to reach our $5 million goal. We've broken ground and they finished the framing 2 weeks ago and they're working on the roofing now on our expansion. And so with that expansion, at the bottom of the yellow sheet I gave you, you can see we'll be going from 3 to 5 medical exam rooms, 2 to 4 dental chairs. We'll have extra space for our therapists, for social workers, for community health workers. And then we'll also have future exam rooms that we can grow into. We've built this expansion to last us up to 20 years. And then we're also going to have a meeting space that'll hold up to 75 people. So we're adding 5,200 square feet to our building, and we're excited that the progress is happening. One of the big things was to move ahead with dental hygiene. Dental hygiene is one of those things where what comes in the door when people are in pain, we're handling really well. We can do extractions, we can do fillings, but we did not have the capacity to give. We had capacity to give half of our patients 1 cleaning a year, and our goal is to give all the patients 2 cleanings a year. And so to that end, we were able to get funding, and so we've been looking for a hygienist all year, and we were just able to hire one who will start in September. But we're going to have a hygienist 4 days a week doing cleaning, so we will have the capacity. Now the trick will be to convince our patients to come in for those cleanings, and that'll be part of her job because a lot of our patients just haven't had that background. So basically, we're still our community's access to a complicated healthcare system for a large uninsured population. Last week, we had 2 different people with broken bones who had already seen Dr. Adine that needed help through us to access the other medical resources in town. And so we were able to do their paperwork immediately, do the referral over so Dr. Adine's office would know to work with them at our discount rate and everything. And so we are still that primary medical, that primary dental, and then we have all these things happening for our growth, and we could not do it without the support from the court, from the community, and we're just proud to be part of this. And that's my update for y'all.
So I know you mentioned adding dental hygiene capacity. When this expansion is done, are you going to be, are you going to have potential for more staff at that point?
Yeah, so one of the tricks is gonna be, right now, we have, the 2 dental chairs. So we have a dentist working the one, and then sometimes they'll work both chairs to increase capacity a little bit. And then we have 2 dental hygienists who volunteer, one of them 2 afternoons a month, the other one 1 afternoon a month, so 3 afternoons a month total. And with this hiring the hygienist in September, that's gonna take up one of those 2 chairs. And so we're probably gonna have to work around those volunteer hygienists coming in for a few months until our new space is ready, and then we'll have the 4 chairs. So we'll be able to have the hired hygienist, we'll have room down the road to hire another hygienist, we'll have the dentist, and so it's gonna give us all the expansion. So we should have, with 4 chairs, all the capacity we need to serve everybody in the community. And one of the things with the dental program that people forget is that Medicare doesn't cover dental. So while we have 2.5 times the state average in over 65, we're at like 33% over 65, where the state average is about 12.5%. So we have a lot of people over 65 who are on Medicare in our community that don't have dental coverage, and also are living on just their Social Security. So whereas we have fewer than 10 patients on the medical side over 65, 15% of our dental patients are over 65. And so this will be something that can help them as well. Any other questions? On the right side, you can see we have a lot of partnerships, and so I just listed a bunch of the partnerships we have. We could not do this. We don't do this in isolation. We do this as part of a community. And you can see all these agencies that we work with to help.
No, we appreciate it. You do a great thing for the community. I don't know where we'd be without you. That's great.
Well, and yeah, it was 34 years ago this month, that Sarah Allerkamp started the 1 night a week free clinic. And I think of what would have happened if she hadn't done that 34 years ago.
Yeah.
Because what we are now started with that one act of faithfulness. All right, well, thank
All right,
you. That's
very
all
good.
I have.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
"17 and 18 is Mike, and I just told him we text him whenever 17 at the end."
Okay. For the record, item number 8 was discussion only, no action. Do we have anyone here to talk about the Hill Country SART? Okay. Let's go to item number 10, which is consider approval of the chamber using portions of the county courthouse square for bleachers and potential road closures related to the Christmas parade, Light the Night Christmas parade.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so essentially, asking for the same thing as the previous years. The only change that we're gonna be doing is we're hoping to add 6 feet to the bank of bleachers that we put on the west side of the entrance. There's some extra space over there, and that would add an additional 52 seats that we could provide in the bleachers. And so other than that, it would be the same as what we did last year. Bleachers would be set up Thursday morning before the parade at 9 a.m. and removed Saturday, December 5th at 9 a.m. And then our staff will come in after the bleacher crew leaves and clean up the grounds like we did last year. The other ask would be the parking closures, same plan as last year. So we'd close the parking on Main Street in front of the library starting on Wednesday so that the bleacher crew can come in and set up on Thursday. San Antonio and Crockett Street parking closures at 7 a.m. on Friday. And then the Nimitz Parkway to close at 2 o'clock on Friday, and all the vehicles to be removed for staging for the parade at that time. And I'll provide a map, as I did last year, in advance, so that can be shared with county staff on the parking closures prior to the parade. Happy to answer any questions on that now.
The additional 6 feet, have we determined that there's nothing in the way that?
I did go out there and measure it, and there's nothing that it would overlap on there. So it's going from 42 feet wide to 48. And that fits in that space on the west side of the entrance. And the one on the other side will be 30 feet because there's a smaller space there. And I know one year, a couple of years ago, there was some overlap, but we modified that last year and made the one side bigger, one side smaller, so that there's no overlap over the landscaping there.
Thank you.
Concerning the road closures, we only really have authority for the roads that are right here behind the courthouse, not even San Antonio, and the other streets are under the city. So I don't have any concern with that. I'm just letting you know that we can't give you the authority.
Yes, we'll work with the city on all that, just as a courtesy, wanted y'all to know, because with your staffing and stuff.
Okay.
I move we approve the request from the Chamber of Commerce to place bleacher setting on portions of the courthouse square for the annual Light the Night Christmas Parade, and consider approval of possible street parking lot closures for the parade staging area, and take appropriate actions related to same.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
We do have some visitors here for item 28.
Okay, we can go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to move to item number 28. Consider approval of the distribution of hot funds for the to the Friends of the LBJ National Historical Park.
Terry, do you want to come up and just reiterate your application?
We do have two public comments on this item.
Okay. You want to have those first?
It's up to you. Do you want them to give a presentation?
Yeah, I would say we can have them go first and then Terry comes second stuff. So we're going to have some public comment first.
All right, Mr. Neiske.
Jester, good morning. I'm Bruce Neiske, citizen of West County. In the packet, which by the way was added late, possibly outside of decorum, at the very back there is no there's no application submitted or shown. There's no application or any kind of application shown in the packet that you submitted.
All right, thank you. Mr. Snyder?
Good morning, my name is Tom Schneider, I'm a citizen of Gillespie County, and I have a couple of questions. The annual applications are due in the first quarter of the year and are reviewed at the end of March. This year, on April 1st, we awarded, my understanding, it was $200,000 for various applications that were approved. And my question is, why was an exception made for this particular application to be taken out of order and taken after the application set? Are there any other funding sources for the LBJ?
On your question on funding sources, are you asking like other non-local or non-county sources, or are you asking if there's other county funding sources that could be used instead of the HOT? I'm just trying to clarify what you're asking in that part of your question.
One part of the question is, are there any other funding sources available to the LBJ library? And the bigger question is, why was this particular application taken out of order? And 4 months after the application deadline is closed.
So if you're asking about other fundings, I believe you'd have to ask the library if they have other fundings. LBJ, Friends of LBJ.
Maybe they could address that.
Yeah, absolutely. With respect to the funding, we do have a process that we put in place to try to organize our funding efforts, and we put deadlines around that. But the Commission's Court has the ability to award hot funds at any time during the year. The LBJ, Friends of the Library, were confused when they made their initial application in terms of was that what they were requesting. And so they came to us, and we considered this to be an important opportunity for use of hot funds, and so that's why we're considering it.
There are very specific uses for hot funds, promoting tourism, supporting convention business, and helping the hotel industry, and it's helping to serve the hotel industry. So I assume that can be addressed as well. And this gentleman's comments. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
No, that's all.
Terry?
Lose lights, didn't
He already went.
Well, and thank you for the questions. So let me just give an overview. The work at the park is very extensive. The major work is to do a complete historical restoration of the Texas White House family home at the lake. And that is costing about $16 million. There's an additional $1.8 million that's needed in order to renovate and modernize the visitor center and the exhibits at the park. The federal government has already funded the $16 million renovation of the Texas White House. And that work is underway. We expect the house to be completed sometime in early next year, 2027. The work for the visitor center is lagging a bit behind by plan, and that probably will not be completed until 2028. So we began a campaign to raise $1.8 million. To your question about other funding sources, there are many respective funding sources. We've already raised about $400,000. Those come from a variety of different sources, some individual donors, as well as some foundations that have provided funding to us. And we have a campaign in order to raise the balance. For example, next month, we'll be submitting an application to the Texas Historical Commission for about $100,000 for a grant from the Texas Historical Commission. There are other foundations and commissions like that that we are approaching and filing applications to. In addition, we will soon begin a more public campaign to raise funds from the community, the broad community, because the national park brings tourism to the entire region. That's an overview. Happy to answer any more questions.
Thank you. Just for the record, the application is for a $50,000 hot fund award for the use of the preservation of the White House, the Texas White House, and or the, I guess preservation and also for the decoration and the interior. Is that correct?
Yeah, so specifically, new exhibits within the visitor center. The modernization of the visitor center itself is an old building, so it needed new fits and finishes, new plumbing, et cetera. So that's all being handled under the project. And then new exhibits within the Texas White House. The park was opened in 1970. The exhibits that were there originally have never been updated, so they're 50 years old, almost over 50 years old. So it's time to modernize that. Let me add one more point. This park has averaged bringing 200,000 visitors per year to the area. And in some years, it's been much more than that. In many years, it's been much more than that. The attendance has decreased because the Texas White House had to be closed about 4 years ago due to structural issues and hence the need for the restoration. So we believe that with the reopening, the new energy, and the new home, and the new visitor center, that we're going to see visitation go above the 200,000 average that we have seen recently.
So the hot fund budget that we had for fiscal year 2026 was $1.5 million. We currently have $178,000 available within that budget, and our current fund balance is just over $2.6 million in hot funds. So we have funds available to fund this request.
Do you have a timeline for the project that you're sort of estimating, I guess, when this would be done?
Yeah, well, again, based on our ability to raise all the funds that we expect, the visitors, the home will be completed as mentioned in 2027, early 2027, and will be reopened to the public at that point. Visitor center is by plan lagging behind. Our target is to be able to reopen the visitor center in 2028, probably mid.
I have one follow-up, if that's possible.
Okay.
Is the award out of the hot funds contingent upon LBJ Ranch being able to fund or to raise sufficient funds to complete the improvement, inclusive of this award?
I guess, would you proceed with this portion of the project if the rest was not funded?
I mean, obviously, we're committed to raising the funds that are needed. And it takes a bit longer, then will take a bit longer. We will use the funds as they are generated in order to do the work on the schedule that we've established. So it's important to note that we have told the court and the judge that this $50,000 will be used very specifically for a new visitor desk, a custom designed visitor desk at the park. And it is hoped that with this funding, when the Texas White House opens, we'll be able to place the new visitor desk in the visitor center as soon as it reopens, and therefore have that element in order to welcome guests from around the world, quite honestly, into the park. So the money that we get from this grant, should it be granted, will be used as quickly as possible, and the work will be on display there at the ranch as it's implemented.
Mr. Steiner, I can tell you that when we do the distribution of the funds, we essentially limit it to that specific use or that purpose that we grant it for. And if it's not used for that, they're obligated to return the funds to us. So it's not like we're intending just to give them a sort of blank check, if you will, for this amount of money and let them use it for whatever they want. It's got to be tied to their specific request for the project. Anything else from the commissioners or anything else you want to present?
We had the proposal, I think it's quite detailed. We took great care to do a good job and a fair job of estimating the impact of visitation. And I'm convinced that we get so many questions about when is the park going to reopen, when is the Texas White House going to reopen, why are things closed? Visitation has continued to be relatively strong during this whole period. And I am absolutely certain that when the Texas White House is reopened, we're going to see a significant boost in visitorship, which will benefit the entire region. So, this is really an investment in our future.
So I believe this is one of the exact purposes that HUD funds was passed in terms of collection in our county. And I move we approve the application for the hot funds request from the Friends of the Lyndon B. Johnson National Historic Park in the amount of $50,000.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Did you get the second? Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate it. And thank you, Commissioner.
All right. One of our presenters is in a time crunch, so we're going to move to item number 26, which is consider approval of a resolution related to the planning grant and the restoration grant for the county courthouse. A little background on this. So we approved application in March, which was for planning initially in the first round. I received correspondence from the state asking if we would be interested in including our full restoration project in the current grant round, I guess is the way you want to call that. So if we intend or want to do that, we need to approve a resolution basically signifying that. So, morning, Whitney.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. As the judge has mentioned, we have approached and already received a resolution to have the support of the county and the Commissioner's Court for planning a planning grant with the Texas Historical Commission to restore both the 1939 Gillespie County Courthouse, which we are standing, as well as the 1852 Gillespie County Courthouse, which is currently the Pioneer Memorial Library. And as the judge mentioned, we have an opportunity that we've been approached by the Texas Historical Commission to request full funding for not only the planning grant, but also to be able to request essentially all of the funding to do the full restoration of the 1939 Gillespie County Courthouse and make our request at the same time as we are requesting the planning grant. And so we are presenting this resolution today to be able to make that request to the Texas Historical Commission. At the same time, we're making a planning grant request. So I provided the court with a resolution that we would like for their consideration this morning. And I am happy to read that, or Judge, if you'd like to, as part of the motion, we can do that in either way.
Okay.
Would you like me to read that?
Give me just a second. Hold on, sorry.
Okay, sorry. I'll let you.
I drafted a proposed resolution, so I was just comparing the two to
Okay,
see.
I didn't get a copy of yours. If you have a different one, you can use that one.
I want to clarify that this is not the award of the monies. This is just our participation in the grant application for the additional purpose of possibly having the entire restoration project be considered. I think one of the rationales from the state is that this funding is currently in place, but it's not guaranteed, and so future round the funding could go away or be reduced, and so while the money's potentially available, that's the purpose for applying for more than just a planning grant in this cycle. The resolution authorizes the submission of an application to THC for both the planning grant, which has already been considered. That's for the 1939 courthouse and the 1882 courthouse, which is the library building. And additionally, a full restoration grant application for the 1939 courthouse, which is the building that we're in today. I drafted a resolution that's somewhat similar. I think I can incorporate the language that you presented in your paragraph number 1 into our resolution. if y'all are okay with that, which specifies that it's the planning grant for both buildings as well as a full restoration grant application for the current building or the current courthouse. Do you have any questions from Commissioners Court?
I do not. No, sir.
None.
Do you have any preference if we use the resolution that was drafted by the county or the resolution that was proposed by?
I thought I heard you say that you have, you would make edits, including some of her language. So I would prefer to have a resolution drafted by yourself with those edits as appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, the biggest change that I would recommend is that we be clear that we are requesting the planning grant to include both buildings and the full restoration grant to only include this building, which is what we have discussed. That's part of the, I want to make sure that that language is clear in the resolution.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution that was drafted by the county with the following revision. The paragraph that authorizes the expansion of the grant application include a specific reference to the planning grant for both buildings as well as the full restoration grant for the 1939 courthouse.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. What's the submission for this? Do you recall?
29.
Okay. We'll get it signed and we'll get a copy over to your office. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to back up to item number 25, which is consider and discuss recommendations from the GCAD related to retaining a joint delinquent tax collections law firm for all the taxing entities and take appropriate action related to same. Mr. Ferry, you want to present on this, or I guess can you just give us a brief synopsis or background of I think your letter's in the packet, but just if you want to give us a little more information.
Okay. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Court. I had submitted a letter, and this goes back to several months back. Early this year, the delinquent tax attorney for all of the taxing units, I had a meeting with her, and she wished to transition out of that. So we went to Crystal Chesso and I went to my board of directors and had the discussion with them. The directive from my board of directors was to go out, vet firms, come back with my recommendation. I set up a meeting. Crystal Chesso and I set up a meeting with the tax representatives from all of the taxing units that we collect for. And the directive from them was very similar. The comment basically was the appraisal district is the one who has to work with the delinquent tax attorney. The appraisal district should be the one to vet. The appraisal district should come back with a recommendation. So I had asked anybody that wanted to be involved in the process, but that was basically my directive was to vet. I had 3 delinquent tax firms that reached out to me before I even sent proposals. So they were basically the 3 I was going to send to anyway. I received 2 proposals from the 3 firms by the deadline My staff and I, we reviewed the proposals. We set up meetings with the two firms that submitted the proposals. Between receiving the proposals and having the in-person meetings, I reached out to multiple appraisal districts and county assessor collectors, spoke with them on who they had and what are the positives, what are the negatives. We had the in-person meetings. I then went back to multiple of those people I called and asked about the process, not the firm, but the process of working with the firm. So through this process, I went through all of this, and I came back with my recommendation of the firm of Linebarger is the one that the district would prefer to work with.
Have any other, so all the taxing entities are gonna have to essentially consent to this? And are we the first one to discuss this issue, I guess?
From what I'm hearing from various people, we're the only assessor collector across the state that has a system set up this way where everybody gets a vote. Typically, the assessor collector is the one who determines the delinquent tax attorney. That's the way this contract was set up with the taxing units. So yes, there are 8 taxing units. In the appraisal district, there's 9 votes.
What was the matrix for determining your decision between the two? Because I'm just kind of curious about that, because we have a business relationship with one of the clients that's been very reputable. So that's why I'm kind of wondering.